First Watch now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your Sheriff's Office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
And Sheriff, you brought some guests with you today.
We did. We got some talented guests in the studio this morning.
All right, we're going to do some shuffling around and moving some mics, so everybody get up to where you need to go and sit. And that was pretty good, guys. You shuffled that very well. Well, we've got the Miss Sierra Vista pageant is going to be tomorrow night. Is that correct?
Yep, Saturday night, 7 p.m. at the Klein Center. Tickets are $15 at the door.
All right, well, introduce yourself.
I'm Jennifer Westbrook, Miss Sierra Vista 2022.
I'm Kaylin Gooch, Miss Sierra Vista's Outstanding Teen 2022.
So you're wrapping up your year as Miss Sierra Vista. Give us the highlight of what happened this year for you.
Oh, gosh. The whole year has been a highlight for me. I mean, it's my second time actually reigning as Miss Sierra Vista, and it feels like I just got to know the community even more this second time around. Even though I've been to like all the same events, just getting to see all the new faces, getting to know everyone on a much deeper level, and I feel like I got to know on the first time that I reigned, and just getting that deeper connection with the community has been so great.
And what was the highlight of your year?
Oh, that's so hard to pick.
I know.
Probably one that sticks out to me, there's a little girl that I've met in the community. Her name is Aurora. I've seen her at so many different events. I've seen her at Walmart when I'm like shopping for groceries, and she's always told me that she's like my biggest fan. And I've just, like I said, I've seen her everywhere, and to know that I am actually been this role model for a little girl like her in the community, to have someone that she can look up to and say, I want to be like her when she grows up, that's so amazing.
And wrapping up your year as Miss Outstanding Teen, what was your highlight?
My highlight this year, again, like Jennifer said, like there is so many to choose from, but my favorite this year was speaking at the courthouse on National Adoption Day.
Wow.
To families of adoption and families that were adopting that day. That was such an amazing experience, especially with my social impact being adoption is always an option, and I was adopted from birth. So getting to meet all these families that were doing the same things for these kids was just so heartwarming to me, and just such a magical experience.
And that was my next platform, so yours was obviously that for the year. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. And what was your platform for the year?
My platform is Fulfill a Sheltered Wish. It's my own personal 501c3 nonprofit organization that I started back in middle school, grew it into a nonprofit organization. I advocate for pit bulls, working with the shelter, Nancy Draper Animal Care Center. I work with them to raise funds, supplies, help their shelter whenever they need. And then I'm a strong advocate for pit bulls and changing the stigma around that breed.
And you guys just went to state, so tell me how that went.
Oh, it was so great. Miss Arizona Pageant was this past June, at the end of June. Both Kaylin and I placed in the top 11, which I don't believe has happened for Miss Sierra Vista in a while. So to have both of us in there representing the city at that state level, representing our personal platforms, our talents, all of that was such an incredible, incredible experience. And
let's talk about the contestants for this year. So how many do we have for Miss Sierra Vista and Miss Outstanding Teen?
We have 5 per category.
Nice.
So we have 10 in total, which is great numbers for us this year, and we're super happy with it.
And tomorrow night is the pageant, so remind everybody to where to get your tickets.
7 p.m. at the Klein Center. Tickets are $15 at the door, and the doors will open at 6:30.
And you have to give up your crown. You okay with that?
It's a little harder the second time around, I won't lie. I've grown very fond of this title in the community and representing them, but we have a great group of contestants, and I'm sure that any one of them will do a great job representing.
Well, we appreciate you both coming in and talking to us on First Watch today.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, have an excellent morning, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night at the Miss Sierra Vista Scholarship Pageant.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to do a little more shuffling and let everybody get back into their chairs so we can continue the show. You guys are doing so well with all that shuffling. Very good.
And we're doing it so quietly. It's like little mice in church.
And are you going to be hosting this event this year?
I am.
Okay.
We got rehearsal tomorrow, or tonight, and then tomorrow night, obviously, the big event. And let me tell you, I think it's such a great event for the young talent, the ladies in this community. And it's nice to see 10 contestants going for the title, the new Miss Sierra Vista, the new Miss Outstanding Teen. So we're excited about that. And you have some history with that, too. You used to MC that event, right?
I did, yeah, for a long time. And then I would do my dance numbers in the end as well.
I was going to say, Michael Jackson. I think you did that for them one time. So, no, it's just a great event. We hope the community comes out and supports them, because these ladies put so much time, effort, rehearsal, practice. I mean, because they're competing. This is like a sport. They're competing out there.
And it's also a great scholarship, so they can continue their education, which is what it's all about.
It is, and there's groups that support them. I know San Pedro Kiwanis, Just Kids Inc., they support this for scholarships too and recognize them. So it is. And Mary Hyder that puts that together, she was here this morning, and she's not one to get in front of a microphone, but on the backside of this, putting this coordinating, and all year long you see her at community events with the ladies. So just amazing.
And so you weren't able to make it last week. You were doing all kinds of stuff that precluded you from being here.
Yes.
So we did have Commander Watkins, and he touched on the mental health grant. So just can you expand on that a little bit and tell people what that is and where we're going with that?
Well, we got it approved. So it's official. It's truly official. The money's been approved. The county has accepted the money. We're in the process. We've been working on this for the back scene of getting the people hired. Now we're hiring mental health experts to start working directly with the sheriff's office. We're also going to have a liaison with the sheriff's office. And this is early intervention mental health. So whether it's a youth, whether it's an adult, our deputies, police officers, troopers, whoever that come across those in need, we have a direct response team. And hopefully we can reduce, once we identify, reduce crisis. I mean, goes into an active situation where people are hurt. And that's what this is all about is how do we identify these people? We need the community's help. We need families' help. We need friends' help to identify those in need. And let's get the help they need to them and get them back into society in a productive way.
We also had a visit from Colonel Ives.
Colonel Ives, he's a new garrison commander for Fort Huachuca. Him and his sergeant major were down this week. We gave him a border presentation, a sheriff's overview. They worked with Border Patrol in the afternoon and had a great day. Went to lunch with him, took him to the Pizzarama there in Bisbee with Gus, and got to experience Gus, great guy. And so it was a great event. And so I got to see him yesterday too at another event. But we wish Colonel Ives, his team, the next 2 years, great success up on Fort Huachuca as a garrison commander.
And working closely with Fort Huachuca, again, you were at an event yesterday for the Buffalo Soldiers, and I think that's an amazing thing that they take the time to put all of that history together, and then they do something to recognize different people that were involved with the Buffalo Soldiers, or were actually Buffalo Soldiers. So what are some of the things that you learned yesterday when you were there?
Well, the history of the Buffalo Soldiers is amazing. The Black Regiment that... I'll be honest with you, we're treated so unfairly, and we heard that yesterday. They volunteered, they weren't getting paid, and where they became, where they were, and what they developed into in today's Army is just amazing. But a great event yesterday. General Hale actually put the event on with his team, and they honored First Lieutenant John R. Fox, a soldier who was killed in the 40s. They told his story. His family was there. His granddaughter was there. Just really a sad story. But he was killed on the line of duty. And then they also recognized Colonel Chaplain Luis Carter. And they recognized and memorialized them by honoring him for the range for Lieutenant Fox, and also for Colonel Carter, the courtyard for the new chapel up there, or the chapel up in Fort Huachuca, because now it's the Buffalo Soldier Chapel. So just not a long day, but it was quite a long day, because we went from the Finch Center where they had the history of the Buffalo Soldier, then we went over to the chapel where they had lunch, and then they also recognized the courtyard and the chapel as the new Buffalo Soldier Chapel. So just a great day, great community support up there on this, and but the Buffalo Soldier, very impressive.
Last week in Douglas, we had some events that needed some assistance, and we covered that last week, but you weren't here, and you wanted to give some shout-outs.
I did. I want to give some shout-outs to our Sheriff's Assist team, to Emergency Operation Group, Dan Deshawn and Tammy Jo, for all the work they did. And that was and to my team. Let's not forget my team, that everybody was out there assessing the needs, providing water, providing resources, helping assess damage. We had our helicopter up, overseeing all that, and just it really came together very well. And the compliments I received were well deserved for the ones that did the work. And that's our Sheriff's Assist team, EOC, and my team out there, deputies and command staff.
And they had some issues in Douglas, sticking along that theme. Had a call night before last, well, actually early yesterday morning, about someone who was maybe intoxicated and at a U-Haul in a more remote area there. We had a situation where we responded, Border Patrol was there, and this guy he broke out all these windows in one of our vehicles. So some of the complaints that we've seen on our Facebook was it a sledgehammer or was it a crowbar? You know, were they both just utility tools? Do we know the difference? And why did we let anybody get that close without, you know, taking further action? So if you just want to expand on that a little bit, you know, our Facebook is a snapshot of things and trying to get information out there. And do we make mistakes? We do. Everybody does. But there really was a sledgehammer.
There was both, actually. And, you know, this was a unique call. We had a U-Haul on the border. I mean, let's put two and two together. Okay, what were they doing down there? I mean, first thing comes to mind, you're right on the border with a U-Haul. And so when we got the call to go investigate that, the first thing we think is, are we picking up drugs, people, whatever it may be? Well, when they got there, they found an individual who was very irrational, very aggressive to the law enforcement. And we had a veteran officer who was also a field training officer and a recruit, a brand new deputy. They start to address him. He became very aggressive with them. He picked up, and it's a weapon. It's actually a deadly weapon. When he picked it up and he used it as an aggressive tool toward law enforcement, let's just say how glad we ought to be, because the tactics, neither deputies were hurt. That's the first thing. They did the right thing. We can replace glass. We can't replace people. So negotiations kicked in. It's the first thing we do. The strategic positioning with the subject. And this is an ebb and flow scenario, like they always are. They always are. And, yeah, did he drop one, grab another? By the time we got to him, and did he smash out a couple windows during the altercation? He did. But my deputies are safe. He is safe. And we'll fix the glass. And Monday Night Quarterback's a great thing. I get it. We all have an opinion. But the reality is it worked out to the best of all interest. And he's in custody in our jail, and he's on some serious charges. But the bottom line is my deputies are safe. That's most important to me.
And continuing the border, we've had some pursuits that you wish to address as well.
We have. Folks, I don't need to tell anybody listening to this, if you're from Sierra Vista, from Cochise County, or you hear in this radio, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, in fact, the last 2 days I checked on, to come to work at 7 in the morning, there were active pursuits. First one a 17-year-old took it all the way to I-10. Tried to spike it numerous times, and we have protocols. People think, well, this is just the Wild West. We actually have operational protocols that help us bring a safe conclusion that nobody gets hurt. I wish it was a perfect system. As we heard last night, it wasn't. But the reality is this. We have measures to address pursuits, blocking intersections. You saw it. In fact, I did 2 in the last 2 days. Get them through. The helicopters overhead, so we can actually back off a little bit. You can't outrun a helicopter, folks. And then we took them down north of Sierra Vista in the less populated areas by spike intervention and brought to a safe conclusion. Sadly, this car was going over 100 miles an hour again. 17-year-old driver, had a little 6-7-year-old girl in the car, individual stuffed in the trunk. I mean, and we charged them accordingly. To see the little girl's face crying because this reckless, careless individual, this smuggler, drove that way. And we lucky we didn't have a crash on that one. We really are. And again, we're trying to minimize things. We put community safety first, but obviously we have to act. We have to act. And I mean, I use the example. Look at Uvalde. What's the biggest thing? And I get this. They failed to act. That's the biggest thing we've been talking about for 2 months. There's no difference in this case. You got a person going down the highway at over 100 miles an hour, obsolete traffic, endangering citizens. We have to act. We just got to be smart about it. And we have a meeting coming up Monday to readdress and add to what we're already doing. I'm very impressed with the men and women from both my office, the deputies, to include the troopers, the police departments. We're working very close to make this happen. But I wish I could tell you it was an imminent danger. It is. We all know that. Last night they had the pursuit. Our guy on the east side of our county spotted the vehicle for equipment violation and went to stop it. Car took off. He disengaged right away. We put an alert out for us where we have more resources to address it. And then what's not being told is, I was briefed on this last night too. I went to the scene last night that the ADOT worker was putting up a sign, and the driver of that car actually went toward the ADOT worker. Now you're getting into felonious crimes beyond the driving. It was re-engaged up on 90 and, of course, high speeds, and it crashed, injured a civilian, which is my biggest fear. I've said that all along here. But and we had a fatality in it. The passenger and the suspect vehicle died. which is sad too. Let's just be real. And so again, these aren't good situations, but we got to look at the root cause. What is causing these pursuits? Folks, we know we got a border that needs to be secured. And if we can secure this border and get another message out there and get everybody, federal government, join forces with us here, and I'm not talking about Border Patrol, we can get this border secured, at least do a better job. This is the worst I've seen in 38 years. Is it going to get better? I don't think so. The complexity continues to change how we do business here.
And with the pursuits, you wanted to thank the public as well.
I do, and thanks for bringing that up, Grady. And the fact that our public has been outstanding. Carol, thank you for the social media snapshots, and those are snapshots of what we're doing, to be real to our public, to be transparent with our public. And the support we're getting, not just for the Sheriff's Office, for all law enforcement and our Border Patrol agents, we're doing the best we can. We really are, with a limited amount of resources, and that's a challenge in itself. And so in a time where law enforcement has huge scrutiny on it, attacks on law enforcement are high, both physically and mentally, and still to be out there getting that kind of support. So thank you so much for the community. Thank you for adhering to emergency lights too. I mean, the last couple of days, the stuff we've been doing, the stuff I've been involved with, and coming home late at night, and seeing the public's support, it just makes our job a lot easier. Let me just say that. So thank you, everybody out there.
And some of the questions are continuing on how these people are getting recruited to come down here. We're talking about social media. You know, they get it on their phones. They get TikTok. They get Snapchat. They get WhatsApp. They have all of these methods in place to have, I guess, recruiting efforts made. And the dollar figure keeps going up. So the last little tidbit we got was, northwards of $3,500 a person. And so that's why you have these kids coming over here thinking they're going to make a fast buck. I can't even get my telephone to work. Like, my iPhone has been eating my contacts. I haven't gotten text messages for 2 days. I have no idea what it is. And I can't get mine to work, but they can get theirs to work when they can go ahead and recruit.
It is. It's all through social media. We've sent up requests to the Attorney General's office. We have worked our tails off trying to get some intervention with social media, to no avail, folks. Just to no avail. And my public safety message to you is, know what your kids are watching on social media. I know it's easier said than done, but that's how they're being recruited. I mean, you can buy fentanyl on social media. You can actually buy fentanyl pills and they'll ship it to you on social media. Why are we not discussing that more? I mean, obviously they're not selling the pills here locally. What I mean by that is the distributor's not sitting in a house in Cochise County. I've been taking them down right now. But they're throughout the country and the world that they're selling these fentanyl pills. Why are we not blocking that? Why is social media allowing that? Tell me what the First Amendment is to commit a crime. You're a drug dealer on social media. You're part of the criminal cartels by getting our young people infected in this. I mean, the same team we had that 17-year-old, we had two 16-year-old girls from, I believe, Peoria.
Yes.
That were driving. They had 5 in the back. And you're seeing this, and it's just so, everybody in this community, in this country, should be standing up saying, wow, I cannot believe we're infecting our young people, vulnerable young people, through social media to commit criminal acts. And the 17-year-old, I looked at him, and at the end, I explained what was going to happen. We're up on I-10 after we got him stopped, after we spiked the vehicle, the tires, and I looked at him, I said, was it worth it? And he told me no. But it's too late now. It's too late. And next day we had another one, a guy out of Mesa, Arizona, a 48-year-old guy, and again, we got him stopped at Ramsey Canyon 92, and it just ongoing every day. And this is not just exclusive to Cochise County. Now, we got the gotaways. That's Tucson sector, which we're part of, is huge for gotaways. But all along the southwest border, the challenges are great. There are challenges. And when people say there's not a humanitarian crisis, folks, last night was another humanitarian crisis with the death. But number 2, I mean, over 500, I think it's 550, it's got to be over that right now, people have died on U.S. soil trying to come in our country. Tell me that's not humanitarian. We need a secure border.
And trying to give back to our communities, just a couple tidbits there is we had our new academy start Monday. And so that's got off to a great start. And you swore in 2 laterals. So we have 2 new deputies that we also highlighted on our Facebook page. So we're giving back into our community and increasing our professionalism and within our own organization.
We do. Levi and Henry. Henry came from Texas after 11 years. Levi came from Oregon after 4 years. And so they're new residents of Cochise County. In fact, Henry's wife works up on Fort Huachuca, so we'll actually have a sheriff's car parked up there. They live on Fort Huachuca because she's military, so if you see a sheriff's car on Fort Huachuca, don't get all alarmed. We're not taking over the post. That's where he lives. And then Levi Him, his wife, and child will be moving down here. His wife's in the process right now with the kids. So again, it's nice to see fresh young deputies coming in, and we got 2 in the academy. They're currently in the academy and just kicked that off. So there's a lot of good things going on. I mean, I'm just so impressed with the men and women, and I want to give a shout out to them. I mean, the disciplines, and people ask me all the time, well, why do we do this? Why do we do that? We have strict guidelines of standards. We have to adhere to disciplines that the criminal doesn't. They have no rules. I think we all would agree with that. They have no rules, and they display it every time we deal with them. We do have rules. How do we address certain things? And that comes through our training, and that's why we're professionals. I mean, that's the difference. And seeing what happens. I went to a call last week, coming home like 8:30 at night, and there was 3 domestic calls right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. And so my deputies were all over the place. That's just in this area over here. So I went to one of the domestics, a deputy and I in service to PD officer, and a guy had 30-year-old man with mental health, broke out the windows of his home. Then you throw some alcohol and some involved in that, and he's a fighter. So we had to take him down, and that's what the public doesn't see. I mean, so we walked in there, the fight was on, and we got this guy restrained. And you just don't see that every day. So I commend our men and women, the people that work in our jails, the support staff, our volunteers, our sworn deputies. They go out there every day and they put it forward in such a good way. And so thank you guys and gals for what you do.
And we've also been experiencing some personnel shortages, in our office, in detention, in the court systems here. So people have to understand that with these shortages going on, it's also adding stress to our employees, having to do a lot more with a lot less. But I just wanted to throw this in there at the end, is if you have to wait a little bit for some type of service, if you're waiting for a report, if you have to, understand that our Wilcox jail is closed now because we need the staffing in Bisbee. We're using the Sierra Vista jail for COVID pods. So want to make sure, and even Justice Court 5, they have shortages. So they're having IAs at 7:30 at night. You want to make sure that please just try to be as patient as you can, because we're all feeling the issues that are surrounding the staffing shortages.
They are, and in fact, I'm heading to the office right after this, and I mean, we just closed our Wilcox jail, mainly because of COVID. COVID's really rampant right now at the sheriff's office. I mean, it's amazing. We went through all that for a year and a half. We did really well, and now we're getting hit harder than we ever have. And we've kept protocols in place, excuse me, for all the right reasons. There's no backup jail. I mean, that's the thing. People think, well, don't worry about it. Well, we have to worry about it because, number one, those are guidelines. Number two is the fact that we don't have a backup jail to put them in. So we got to be very smart how we do business there, and take all the opinions off the table on that. We've got to keep a jail up and running here. So we had closed Wilcox. We got people down there, but they do an amazing job under some really tough conditions. When you come to the sheriff's office, either you've been a victim of a crime or you've been arrested by the sheriff's office, and most people don't come in there real happy. I'll just say that, but we have to make sure we're doing that professional and greet them with all respect, and we do that. I'm so impressed how we do things, and just listen to our staff. And so, but I would ask, I agree with you. I'd highlight that, Carol, that please work with us on that and be patient. I mean, it's not like people are lined up to work in law enforcement right now. It's becoming a super challenge, and the more it gets competitive with Phoenix areas and others. I mean, I'll give you an example on Border Patrol. I mean, 4 years in Border Patrol, you double the salary that you would make at the sheriff's office as a deputy. So you can see how competitive that is. I mean, if you're chasing after salary, I chase the culture here. I tell people this is a great place to work, great place to live. So that's what I push.
Well, Sheriff, before you go, let's remind everybody that there's going to be school buses around, and you need to stop when they put out their signs.
And some schools have already started. Benson, for example, have already started. So starting next week, I think they all kick up here in Cochise County. So if you see a school bus, you see the arm coming out, law requires you to stop. And 92 is a prime example. You'll see a bus on 92, especially down south in Hereford, Palominas bus. I know it's 4 lanes, but you can't go by that. You have to stop. So please, do it for the safety of the kids. I mean, do it for our kiddos out there. Be careful. Look for the big yellow buses, the reason they're yellow, and let's have another safe school year.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us
Thanks,
today.
Grady. Thank you, Carol. Everybody have a great week.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have all kinds of people waiting out here. It looks like we have Lisa Mara from the Cochise County Elections Department, so we're looking forward to that.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an insight into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County. So we have Elections Director Lisa Mara with us. I think I got it right that time. Welcome, Lisa.
Good morning. You did.
Good morning. Gotta get real close to that microphone there. Yep, pull it right up there.
Okay.
So let's talk about, first of all, what does your office do for elections?
So our office is responsible for election day voting, for hiring and training poll workers, for tabulating and counting all the ballots, canvassing the election results. We are the filing officer for county candidates and special district candidates, and that's about the highlights of that office.
I think that's enough. Yeah,
it is
that's
enough.
A lot.
It's different than the recorder's office, so people get that confused because the recorder is an elected position. I'm appointed by the board. The recorder is responsible for your voter registration, and for your early voting and your in-person voting. So elections creates the ballot, prints the ballots, and so we work very closely together, but they're defined separate duties in statute, and I think that separation is important.
So when, I know that we have a date coming up. I know there's a deadline date. I've seen August 2nd in bold. So tell everybody what August 2nd is for a date.
August 2nd is the primary election in Arizona. So today, Friday, at 5 o'clock is the last day to vote in person at the recorder's office. You can drop off your ballot. If you haven't mailed it yet, don't mail it. It's too late for that. Bring it to any of the county service centers. They're 8 to 5 inside the building for security. Or you can drop off your ballot on election day, which is August 2nd.
And what do you need to bring with you when you go to vote?
So in Arizona, you have to have identification to vote in person. You can use a driver's license. That's the most common thing people do, or an ID. Doesn't have to be a photo ID. You can have other documents that prove identification. So on our website, and I'll give you that address before we wrap up here today, so you can have that list. You can have an insurance statement, a bank statement, a utility bill, something with your name and address. That's really important for voters who maybe haven't updated their driver's license. So maybe they moved and they changed their voter registration, which you should always do, but if their address is wrong on their driver's license, then they can bring a utility bill or, like we said, bank statement, insurance statement, something to prove where they're living now.
So let's talk a little bit about the security of voting, because there's, over the past couple of years, it's been put under a microscope. Let's talk about how the system actually works.
So that's a really great question, because election officials have been fielding this forever, because security's always been important. It's had a different focus since 2019, so we've been fighting those things for quite a while. And I will say our elections in Arizona are secure. The elections in Cochise County are secure. We've obviously moved into more equipment because we have more voters. We have more issues on the ballots, more candidates. We have about 400 ballot styles in a primary election. That's a lot. So to even think about trying to hand count things would be just nonsensical. We test all the election equipment with thousands and thousands of ballots because we have to make sure the right ballot is getting to the right voter. So security is tight in that we have everything is locked down. Key card access, so if you don't need to be where the equipment is, you're not. It's locked and secured in a warehouse that has alarm systems and cameras. Elections are by the people, right? So we have poll workers, opposite party. Many of the things we do are always opposite party. And so that right there is important. I still say that Arizona has incredibly good laws, and other states wish they were Arizona because we do have so many opportunities for voters, but the equipment has to be certified federally, has to be certified by the state. We all know that government moves slow sometimes, so that takes a long time to do. But it's really the testing and the security and the chain of custody from one step to another step. When the recorder gets the ballots, and they verify every signature on that early ballot. So if you've ever gotten a call that says, hey, we're questioning the signature, every single one is checked. And they scan them into the system, and then they send them to us to tabulate because they can't open the ballots. Again, that's security. So a big question we always get from people is, well, I want to know exactly when you counted my ballot. And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know when I counted my ballot. Because once they're out of the envelope, they're secret. Your ballot is secret. If the recorder's office accepts your ballot, then it's counted because they accept however many they accept. Let's use a round number. Say they accept 60,000 ballots. That's a lot. That hasn't happened, but 60,000. At the end of the day, I have to show that I counted that 60,000 or why we didn't. Maybe we counted 2 less than that because those envelopes were empty. Sometimes people send the envelopes back empty, or they put their sample ballot in it, which we can't count. So just between the chain of custody and the audit steps all along in the process, that's how we do elections in Cochise County.
Well, you mentioned empty envelopes, and I know signatures are an issue too. So what are the biggest mistakes that people make on their ballot?
So not signing that affidavit envelope, that's a big mistake. So the recorder will try to contact the voters, but there's a time limit in there. So that's important. Voters should not sign their ballot. They should not write their name and phone number on their ballot. They should do that on the envelope, but your ballot is secret. So you should not do that. That's not a good thing. Don't mail your sample ballot back because you can't count that. And so I think another really big thing, if voters would just read the instructions on those early ballots, there's a picture even, how to fill in the oval. That's really important for the machines to count and tabulate, because if you put X's in it or check marks in it, the machine may not count it, and then 2 people of opposite party have to duplicate that ballot so it can be counted. So that's important. There's a lot of talk about pens. You can use a Sharpie, you can use a ballpoint. You should use blue or black ink, not pink sparkly gel pen. But those are really the biggest things for people. I think the last thing I would say in a primary that's so confusing, it's a primary by party. So whatever registered party you are is the ballot you get. Independents, people that are registered as other or party not designated, they can vote in the primary. They just have to pick either a Republican or a Democratic ballot. So those voters should come out on Election Day, bring their ID, pick their ballot style, and vote. But you can't mix and match. You can't mix and match your candidates. So if they're Republican candidates, that's Republican ballots. Democratic is Democratic, Libertarian, Libertarian. So a lot of times we see people write in different people. If there's nobody on their ballot, they'll write somebody else in that's a different party, and those don't count because it is specifically by party.
All right, so I think we covered a lot here. We're going to throw out some web addresses and contact information in just a few, but is there anything else you would like to add about voting on Tuesday before we get to those addresses?
It's really helpful if voters know before they go. If you don't request an early ballot, you're a person who tends to vote in person on Election Day, you get a sample ballot in the mail. Fill that out and bring it with you, because then you can just copy it onto the machine and save your time. Know who's on there. We usually see people that know the first couple races, but then they get down to the ones like city councils or propositions, and they don't know those candidates. So be prepared. You have an opportunity to look at sample ballots when you get to the vote centers. So if you need a few minutes to do that, go ahead and do that, find out the issues, and then vote.
All right, just give us your contact information and how people can contact you if they have questions.
So the best way to get a hold of us is through the website, and it's cochise.az.gov/elections. Will put you right on our webpage, but you could just go to the county site at cochise.az.gov, or you could give us a call at 520-432-8970.
Well, Lisa Merrow, we thank you for coming and talking to us today about elections.
Thank you so much.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Miss Teresa Penny. She's from Huachuca City, and she's going to tell us all things that are going on there.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office. And our next guest is Teresa, Child and Family Program Services Supervisor. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we've got the back-to-school fair coming tomorrow to the mall at Sierra Vista.
Yes, we are there at 10 a.m.
All right, so what are we going to find at the back-to-school fair?
We have all kinds of backpacks, school supplies. There are just numerous organizations that are out there with us to help out the community.
And this is something you guys do every year.
Yeah, this is our 26th annual.
So when families come to the back-to-school fair, what are they going to be receiving and getting?
So they will get everything is while supplies last, but there are vendors with backpacks and school supplies, and we've got Guild out there with free hot dogs. They do that for us every year, and we've got free drinks, beverages, and everything is free for everyone that attends, and we have activities too. There will be different activities for the families to enjoy while they're there.
What kind of activities are we looking at?
Games. Yeah, a lot of games and prizes and stuff like that.
There's good information as well, because there's going to be a lot of vendors that have good information to give to families.
There will be different organizations out with resources about their programs that are available in the area.
And are there some like after-school programs that are going to be there and things of that nature?
Yes.
So there's lots of going on, lots of good stuff.
We have a lot.
All right, and so what else do you have to share with us about the back-to-school fair?
It's just that I wanted to let everyone know that it's the 26th annual, and we are out there in a big way with free stuff for all the kids. I want everyone to show up.
And everybody loves it. It's so much fun. And it's all happening at the mall at Sierra Vista. And what time does it start?
It's 10 to 12.
10 to 12. All right, so that's going to be tomorrow at the mall at Sierra Vista. Make sure you check that out. Also in the studio with us, we have Stephanie, Director of Library and Community Services in Huachuca City. And you also have a back-to-school kind of fair going on as well. When is that going to be?
That is actually tonight, Grady. We combine it. We have our national night out earlier than most people, so we combine it with the back-to-school backpack event, and it's also the Meet the Teacher night at Huachuca City Elementary. So we've got free backpacks to give out to children who live in the 85616 zip code. Excuse me, or attend a school in the Tombstone Unified School District. And this year we've also been given 60 pairs of free sneakers, so that will be first come, first serve as well. But like Sierra Vista, we're going to have local organizations, educational organizations in our senior center for families to go to find out, the resources that are available to them, and it's all free of charge. We will also be giving away free food, hot dogs, soda, chips, and drinks as well, thanks to our sponsors in both Sierra Vista and in Huachuca City. So we're excited.
What is a National Night Out? What is that?
The National Night Out is kind of a chance to meet your local law enforcement and your first responders. And we encourage the kids to get to know them, to know that these are people that help their communities but also keep all of us safe in the community. And it's also a chance, I think, for people to go up and say thank you as well, because we do owe them a very big debt of gratitude. And it's just fun to showcase, and the kids love the flashing lights. They love to be able to, maybe go through the smokehouse that Fry Fire Department is offering. They like to see the canines. They wish they could pet the canines. So the kids have a really good time.
And where is this going to be located in Huachuca City tonight?
This is going to be at the library for the backpacks, the senior center for the educational organizations, and then law enforcement will be located outside the front of the senior center. And it'll be a safe area for the families to walk to and from as long as the weather cooperates with us.
All right, well, we thank you both for coming in and talking to us about the back-to-school fairs with Huachuca City tonight, and that's going to be where?
At the library and the senior center at 6 o'clock.
And tomorrow it's going to be the Sierra Vista back-to-school, where?
The mall at Sierra Vista.
And that starts at 10. All right, well, we thank you both for coming in and talking to us today.
Thank you.
And Carol, how can they get a hold of us at the Sheriff's Office?
So you can reach out and talk to us either on the phone, 520-432-9500, or take a look at our social media at Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Daniels. That'll take you to our Twitter account and Instagram. Look for the Move Over. That's the best one ever. And then also we can be reached at our webpage at cochise.az.gov/sheriff.
First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only on 92.3 KWCD.
Careful.